WWE fumbled the John Cena heel turn. After nearly 2 months since it occurred, the John Cena heel turn, once thought to be one of the greatest segments not only in WWE history, but in professional wrestling history, seems to be cooked. John Cena, who was WWE's biggest babyface for nearly 20 years, had finally done the impossible, turning his back on the fans and becoming the bad guy. Something we hadn't seen ever since John Cena was the Doctor of Thugonomics back in 2004. But this was supposed to be much different. Cena since then had spent nearly 20 years combating the urge to turn heel. He had even stated many times before that he would never do so because he believes that the fans have the right to cheer, boo, or feel however they want to feel. And while it is understandable that John Cena would want to turn on the fans, and that could be a critical motivating factor for this heel turn, the way that WWE has done it has just been awful. WWE took a fantastic moment at Elimination Chamber 2025 where John Cena not only beat down and brutalized Cody Rhodes in Toronto, but also joined forces with the final boss, The Rock, into one of the most mediocre and mid follow-up builds to WrestleMania we've ever seen. And that isn't to say that it's been entirely bad, or we can look at this and say it is the worst thing in professional wrestling history. But for something as monumental as John Cena turning heel in what will be his final year in the ring, the fans, the company, and John Cena all deserve better. They deserved something that was maybe not as big as the NWO Hollywood Hogan heel turn back in 1996, but definitely something that could match the level of impact and match the level of importance that had. People weren't looking for this to be as big of a storyline as the rise of Steve Austin, but people were expecting to see something that was absolutely can't miss. Instead, the follow-up to that awesome moment was John Cena coming out and excoriating the crowd in the voice of a 12-year-old child. John Cena was mad at the fans because they, for nearly 20 years, were not with him. They were selfish. They only wanted to cheer when they wanted to cheer. They didn't see John Cena as the good guy, even though at every turn he stood up for them. And like I said before, there is a lot to like and a lot that could be built upon on that motivation alone. However, when you pair that with the fact that the delivery of the promo does not make John Cena sound like a bitter man who has finally lost it, who has finally had enough, who finally broke, but like a child. He sounds like a child having a tantrum. And for something like the John Cena heel turn, again, something that fans have been building up for nearly a decade at this point, it's not that people don't necessarily think this makes sense. It's not that people don't necessarily think that this is logical in the storytelling perspective, but it's not good. It's not important. This isn't a legendary story. This isn't turning into something that people are going to look back and say, this defined the year 2025. The way the WWE has handled this John Cena heel turn, from the delivery of his promos to the fact that he's still coming out to the same music with the same gear and the same vibe, it just makes you feel like WWE sat back and said, we are going to go through the motions, we are going to do the bare minimum, and we are going to coast on the idea of a heel John Cena. And in the current TKO era, that might just be enough. WWE WrestleMania 41 was one of the highest grossing WrestleManias ever. John Cena and Cody Rhodes' main event match is one of the most viewed Mania main events ever. And the amount of clicks it's getting on social media is just absolutely insane. So by all of the metrics that TKO and WWE look at as far as success, this certainly does fit that mold. But at the same time, from a quality perspective, this doesn't hold a candle to Hogan's heel turn. This doesn't hold a candle even, I think, to Stone Cold's heel turn at WrestleMania X7. Another time where you could argue that WWE turned the biggest babyface in the entire company into a heel, and the follow-up wasn't necessarily as great as people expected. And when you combine that with the fact that it looks like John Cena is going to go into the rest of this year with this storyline of him being the final boss of WWE, for lack of a better term, him being the person to go through in order to get to the WWE Championship, but also him being the guy who says that if he retires and is still the champion, he is taking the championship with him. He is taking that real WWE Championship into his retirement, and everyone who holds that belt after him will be essentially a paper champion. Will not be in the same lineage as Bruno Sammartino, will not be in the same lineage as Stone Cold Steve Austin, will not be in the same lineage as The Rock, will not be in the same lineage as John Cena. The fact that that is the story they're telling, and we are getting this child who is holding this championship and claiming that he is the final boss when in reality he is just having a tantrum, it kind of takes you out of it. And it makes you question what WWE saw in this moment. And we now know that this was a last-minute decision that was made by WWE and John Cena to actually turn heel. It's not like they had the next couple of weeks of TV ready to go, but at the same time, knowing that fans had been expecting this moment, knowing that fans had wanted this moment, knowing the amount of buzz this would generate, you would think that WWE would give a little bit more thought, respect, and care into the follow-up. But unfortunately, they didn't. They still have a year to fix it. They still have a year to try to get this back on track. But as of right now, WWE certainly has fumbled the John Cena heel turn. Will they change it? Will they get better? I don't know. But hey, I guess we'll see.